There you go.
Hello.
Hi, Valerie. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good as well. Thank you. Well, welcome to the show. It is so awesome to have someone as talented and awesome as you. So, before we start, I have to give you an epic, badass, super welcome here. So, let's get started. There you go. There you go.
I love that.
It is so awesome doing this. I love doing this.
I love that so much.
Yeah. All right, cool. Now, starting with the whole interview here, tell me how your passion for acting and voice acting started.
Oh gosh. I have been acting since I was about 5. My sister is 9 years older than me. She's a professional opera singer. And I wanted to do everything that she did.
Yeah.
So when she was in high school, she started doing theater and performing, and I, being 9 years younger, was like, oh my gosh, if Brooke is doing that, I simply must do the same.
Yeah.
So it started because I just admired my sister in everything. And voiceover actually didn't start for me until 2015-ish, 2014, 2015. I've been acting professionally since I was 14 years old, and it wasn't until I was around 17, 18 years old that I kind of fell into voiceover.
Yeah.
And it was something that I always really loved. Like, I grew up watching animated movies were like, I did not want to watch live action stuff when I was a kid. It was like I only wanted to watch things if they were animated.
Yeah.
But I like, that seems so, how does one get into a Disney movie? How does one be on like a Nickelodeon show? That was so out of the realm of like any understanding that I knew how to do. I knew how to do film, I knew how to do theater. And I like to say that I kind of fell into voiceover, and I'm really, really so grateful that I did, because I love it so much.
Yeah. That's so awesome, and you can tell that you love it because your performances are awesome. So
Thank you.
now, what were some of the challenges that you had when you recently started?
Well, that's a great question. I think getting into voiceover, I think my biggest challenge was being really unfamiliar with how to navigate that industry. It's a side of the acting world that feels so shrouded in mystery. Like, everyone has seen an animated project, everyone has heard voice actors in their life, but how do you get into that? It's not so simple as like auditioning for your local community theater. And also too, one of the challenges was voiceover is like one of the most welcoming communities. It's full of the most wonderful, warm, kindest people that I've had the pleasure of working with. But it's also very much like a who you know business. So much of my work comes from people who I've either worked with in the past or people who have heard my work, and I'm so grateful for that. But it's definitely like, how does one get into it initially? How does one find that first in to make their friends, to make their mark and show off what they can do? So I think that was one of the first big challenges.
Okay. Now, in 2008, you gave the voice to Hikaru in Pipopa. Tell me, was that your first voiceover project?
It was not, actually. So that one is, I actually did not end up working on that project until 2017. So the project came out in its original language in 2008, and then the English dub was not made until I think 2016, 2017, which is when I jumped on. And it was, I think, the third dub that I had done. I had been working with a company that had, like, very luckily kept bringing me back. I had worked with them for Ultraman and for Prison Paradise. Then they brought me on for this one, and it is the only one that I worked on with them that I still have never seen the final footage from the English dub. The others that I've seen, and it was so fun to voice that, and I got to do so many. I did the one character, and then I got to do lots of different voices all around the first few episodes, different one-line parts, and it was such a blast, and I can't find the footage anywhere. So if anyone sees it or finds the dub anywhere, please let me know, because I've been dying to see it. I want to see how it turned out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's be on the hunt. Then if you're watching this later on the YouTube or listening to this later on the podcast, you know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Very sure. Now, what are some of the things that you enjoy the most about doing voiceover?
I think I love that it's not, I as a performer am not constrained to how I look. When I do film and TV and theater, I am a 20-something Caucasian girl with brown hair and brown eyes. There's only so many types of roles that I can play. Whereas in voiceover, I can play a lizard queen. I can play a badass warrior. I can play so many different creatures and people and different ages. I voice a lot of kids' roles. I play a lot of like 9 and 10-year-olds. Yeah. So I love that there's the freedom to really be able to be and play so many other things that are just not confined by who I am and who I appear to be on the outside.
Yeah, that's so cool. And how you usually prepare before doing voiceover session?
I do a lot of, so most of the time for at least the projects that I work on, because I work mostly in video games, which is often very, very secretive and so many NDAs. So usually I will not get a script until I arrive to work. So I don't usually have much time to do prep work on the script or anything like that, but I always make sure to do a full warm-up. I stretch my body, I vocalize in the car. I usually put on like 80s music and all the way to the drive to the studio and just like sing. Always drink a big cup of tea with a lot of honey. Just like normal things to prep for a long 4-hour workday and try to keep my energy up. And then sometimes I do get the script. When I get the script beforehand, I always make sure to like read through it before I kind of know, am I going to be yelling today? Am I going to be needing to cry? All those fun sorts of things.
That's so cool. Wow. Now, you have been given the voice also to several anime projects, such as Tower of God, Prepara, and this one that we were talking before. So tell me, what are some of the things that you enjoy the most about doing anime?
I think I love that anime is just so fun, and it's the situations that your characters get to be put in can be so. There's so many larger than life plot lines, and that's so exciting and so fun. Also, dubbing itself is such a big challenge and is really cool, and dubbing I think is kind of it's such a technical skill, because on one hand you have to be on top of your acting, know what your choices are, but also too, you're working off of usually the Japanese dub, or whatever language that you're dubbing it out of, and you're kind of working together with who the original voice actor was, because their voice is what this project was animated to. So it's kind of like watching and seeing, okay, what did they do? How do I turn this into my own performance, put my own stamp on it, but also keep the integrity of the piece? And I really love that. It's a different kind of a challenge than just completely originating something from the ground up.
Yeah, totally. Plus, I think that in anime is you have to get like in a very dramatic position, right? Because sometimes it will get like super dramatic and like it doesn't matter what happens, it will turn out to be an epic moment, you know?
Exactly. That's exactly what it's like.
That's so cool.
And sometimes you don't even get, in the same way like for gaming, you don't know, you don't get the script in advance. That's often the case for dubbing too. When I worked on Tower of God, I didn't know there's a really big twist at the end with my character, and I did not know, and it like completely changes how everyone views her. And I didn't know that was part of the plot line until I was literally in the recording studio recording the big reveal scene. And I turned to the director and I was like, what is going on? So it's fun, because sometimes you're getting to live through it and find out what's happening just like as you go, which is
Totally.
it's a little nerve-wracking, but it's also so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what can you tell me about Ultraman, the movie, and Ultraman X? I mean, what were some of the things that you enjoyed the most during those two projects?
They were both so fun. My character is so sweet and cute, and that was, I think, my second live action dubbing project. Second and third, because I did both of them. It was just so much fun, and I got to do my very first convention appearance after I did those. I went to a con in LA and got to take a picture with the rest of the cast. It was a really, really big blessing. I remember when I got that job, it was one of my first voiceover jobs, and I remember I cried in my car when I got it because I was so excited and I didn't think I would get it, and I was just like, I remember being just like, wow, like people are paying me to like use my voice, this is so exciting. It was a really, really, really big deal to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so awesome. How cool is that?
Thanks.
Now you have also so you have also wrote several projects as well. I mean, besides voice acting, you do writing too. So you wrote The Last Dance, Chasing Neverland, and The Callback. So tell me about them.
Yeah, so I used to write a lot more than I do now. I more am on the directing side now, but when I was in my late teens, I was producing a lot of films. And I wrote the 3 of those. They were, I was feeling really at that time deflated as an actress on camera. I felt like I wasn't booking the things I wanted to, telling the kinds of stories that I thought were interesting. And so I kind of took it into my own hands and was like, okay, well, if no one's going to hire me for these kinds of projects, then I'm just going to make them myself. And I did. And they are projects that I am very, very proud of. I got them into a few film festivals when they all came out. I want to get more back into writing. I have switched over from writing screenwriting. I write music now and I create content in other ways. But I always have really, really enjoyed screenwriting and creating in many capacities.
That's awesome. Now for Chasing Neverland, you directed and also produced that one. So, so tell me, how was the process of that? How, what are some of the things that you learned from that experience?
Yeah, that one was huge for me. That one was really, really big learning curve. I was, I think, 17 or 18 when I wrote and directed and produced that. Yeah. And I learned so much about contracts, so much about making sure that everything is taken care of, everything from food on set to if your actors have any allergies to anything, what kinds of dietary issues your crew has. And it was a big learning curve, and I think it taught me very quickly how to be a leader and how to be someone that, because I've worked on so many sets in my life, and there's some sets that I have had amazing experiences on, and there's some sets that are less than satisfactory, and usually those are less than satisfactory because whoever is in charge is not taking into account their crew and their actors' comfort levels. And that for me was something that I really wanted to be cognizant of. And when I produce and when I direct, I want everyone to feel like they are super valued and important to this set, because filmmaking and any type of creative production is a team effort. So that was really awesome, and I've taken it into I've spent the last 18 months producing and directing a musical rom-com podcast called The Flame the Musical. Yeah, it just aired in June and July. We actually had a billboard up in Times Square advertising it, which was pretty neat.
Cool. Yeah,
but it was cool because I got to put those skills back into action of okay, how do I build a team? How do I be the best director I can be? And all that good stuff.
Yeah. Wow. And you have been also in several films, such as Falling Out, Isabel's Teddy Bear, The Callback, Vladimir of Albuscu, Golden Boy, The Last One, Pieces of Victory. I mean, the list goes on. But
Thank you.
tell me, what are some of the highlight moments that you have during those projects?
Yeah, those ones were all so fun. I remember when I worked on Isabel's Teddy Bear, it was my very first horror piece, and I played like this really like creepy 14-year-old girl who murders her brother, and it was like my first time getting to work with like blood on set, which was so cool. I stab him in the project, so it's super dark, but that was, I had never had to work with special effects like that, which was really interesting. Some of the other ones that are more recent that I've gotten to work on, I worked on a film called She Comes in Colors Everywhere that is on the festival circuit right now that I had to dye my hair red for, which was really cool. I got to be a redhead. That one was one of the longest shoots I've done. It was like a 14 or 15 day shoot with reshoots. Every project I think teaches me something new about the filmmaking process and about myself as an actor and as a person, and obviously it's always fun collecting new friends the more projects you work on. I think building those connections are like one of the good things, you know, or one of the nicest things when you are in a project, that you get the chance to connect with more people. And like, who knows, maybe the connection that you had with one person, then that person becomes a director, and then of course that, you know, exactly.
I've discovered that there's about like the whole networking, you know.
Yeah, I think networking is way less about like sending out emails to be like, hey, can you hire me? And it's more about like, who do you actually get along with, and who do you want to be friends with, and then you kind of all come up together. I also coach voiceover, so I coach a lot of young actors, and that's like one of the things that I always try to instill in them is like, being talented will get you far, but being kind and being an awesome person will get you farther. Totally. And being genuine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, tell me about your experience on video games. So you have been in Smite, What Remains of Edith Finch, Cobra Kai, The Karate Kid Saga Continues, and Wolfenstein: Young Blood. So tell me, what are some of the best moments you had during those games?
Oh, so many good ones. What Remains of Edith Finch was my first big video game, and when I signed on to that project, I thought it was going to be a tiny mobile game. Like, I thought no one would play it. I was like, I didn't even know what it was. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to work a couple days on this project, and then it'll be done, and then at some point it'll be out. And then it turned out to be a massive project. And I don't think I was ready for the amount of like people who played it and the amount of like attention, because I was just so shocked. None of my films had ever gotten that much attention. No piece of theater I'd ever done had gotten that much attention. It was unlike anything I had ever experienced before, which was really cool. And to this day, the biggest blessing of my life. I auditioned for that game. I made my audition tape on my phone, under my covers, under my bed, to create a soundproofing thing. And then a year and a half later, I was in London at the BAFTA Awards because I was nominated. It was like the biggest dream come true. I still think about it sometimes, and it just blows my mind. I am so grateful for that project. And same thing as well with Wolfenstein. I booked Wolfenstein. I was getting on the plane to go to London for the BAFTA Awards when my agent called me to let me know that I had booked Wolfenstein, and that in a month and a half I would be going back to Europe, and I'd be going to Sweden to go do motion capture in Uppsala, Sweden. So it was that year was crazy for me, because it was those were the first two huge games I had done, and it felt like such a wonderful and warm welcome into the video game and the voice actor community.
Yeah.
I met so many people that year. I'm sure I was a nervous wreck to most of them because I like didn't know how to like handle myself in this situation. But everyone welcomed me with open arms, and I feel very grateful that I have been able to continue to be in this amazing industry.
Yeah, totally. And tell me, what were some of, like, what was your reaction when you put that mocap suit?
I like could not believe it.
Yeah.
I was like in the middle of Sweden so where we shot the soundstage that we shot on is in a old church that they repurposed into a soundstage.
Okay.
So I was like in this like strange inconspicuous church in the middle of Sweden, in their upstairs, like, and I put on this mocap suit, and I was with my friends Shelby and Jasmine, who I had only just met at that time. Now we're very good friends.
Yeah.
And I was just, it was one of those moments of like, how did I get here? Like, nothing in my life would have been, I never thought that I would like be getting to fly to another country to work on motion capture and do such cool, fun projects. And yet here I am. It was a dream come true, and I like did not take any of that trip for granted. It was incredible.
That's so amazing. Yeah, that's so cool. So cool. And what are some of the things that you enjoy that you enjoy the most about your character, Jess?
I love that Jess is such a badass, and she's so funny, and she's also really layered. She's cool, and she is strong in a fight, but she's also 17 years old. She's in way over her head. She has no idea what she's doing. She's super vulnerable, and that's really exciting to get to play, and especially in an action video game where so much of the time our protagonists are already seasoned, already know what they're doing. They're badasses in their own right. So it was really fun getting to play this teenage girl who is way out of her depth. Getting to work opposite Shelby Young, who plays my sister, and Jasmine Savoy Brown, who plays our best friend. Also such a treat. I admire them so much as actresses and performers. And then not only that, but Tom Keegan, who directed Wolfenstein Youngblood and who's directed the rest of the Wolfenstein franchise, is just the most delightful man I've ever worked with in my life. He's the best director I think that I have had the joy to work with. And he pulls so much good work out of every actor, and he makes everyone want to be there and want to work harder and want to go deeper into the performances. So
that's so cool. And what is what's your favorite scene from that game?
Ooh, that's a good one. I really love there's the very first time that Jess and Soph try to take out one of the Nazis, when they are going to go save their father, they're both like freaking out because they've never killed anyone before in their lives, and they are like freaking out. My sister's character throws up in the middle of it because she's so nervous. That one was so much fun. That was our audition scene, and then that was one of the first scenes I shot with Shelby. And it was one of those moments when you like click into a scene with another actor, and you're like, oh, we're on the same page here. We can like really play off each other. So that one, or there's a scene in the beginning that I play opposite Brian Bloom, who plays BJ Blazkowicz.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he's teaching me how to hunt. And that one for me was the hardest one to shoot, and I don't know why. There was something about it that I was like having a really hard time with on set, and I remember like our director like pulled me aside and like talked me through it, and just then it finally clicked. And when it finally clicked, it just felt so good, and I was so happy with the finished product.
That's so cool. Now, if you could do the voiceover for any movie, TV show, or video game right now, which one you would choose?
Oh gosh. I would probably want to play the next Disney princess. Or like I want to do another like big mocap like a Laura Croft type character, like
Cool.
badass, yeah. Like solo heroine on an adventure, like big trilogy. That would be cool. I would die to work on anything Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars fan. Yeah, anything like that would be just wild and so exciting.
That's awesome. I love that. Now, if you could describe your career in an anime show, what would be the title of it?
Gosh, it'd probably be something like My Life as a Magical Voice Actor. I don't know, something like that. Like something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Or yeah. I'm trying to think of something cute, like fruits baskets or something. I don't know. It'd be something like that.
Okay, fair enough. Then if at some point you're writing your own anime story, you already have a title here, so
there we go. We're prepared.
Yeah, it's like an investment for the future. You know, you'll be like, oh yeah, I got it. And then you go back and be like, okay, cool. Yeah.
Exactly. I love it.
Yeah, that's how we roll here. So, but tell me, like, what motivates you? I mean, you basically have a badass career. You have been in so many things involved. You also write, produce, direct. You've been in an epic, in a lot of epic things. You were also in an epic game franchise such as Wolfenstein. So tell me, what motivates you? Like, what drives you to keep building your career?
I think it's two things. I think it's on one hand, this is like what I've done my entire life. I've always been a performer. I have had side jobs before, and I'm not as good at many other things as I feel like I am as a performer. Or as as someone who's a creative. I really, not that I couldn't do anything else, but I don't find the joy in as many other things that I do when I'm creating.
Totally.
So I've always worked really hard so that this year marks I just have hit a year and a half of being a full-time performer, which is crazy. I spent the first 9 years of my career having like a bazillion side jobs, hustling with 3 jobs while auditioning and working. Even while I was working on Wolfenstein, I still had several side jobs. So that's pushed me really hard because I know that this is what I want to do and this is what I love to do. So I know that it is such a privilege to be a full-time performer. And I think that's kind of what drives me, is that I don't take that lightly. That is not a blessing that every actor has. That's such a milestone to achieve, and I don't take that lightly. So I think knowing that like this is my job, I take it very seriously, and that's part of it. And then also too, I find so much fun being on set or being in the recording studio. I love the moments when you can like close your eyes and be in the booth and just become someone else for 4 hours. Same thing on set. That's one of the things I love about film acting, is I love like the sort of process of getting into hair and into makeup and putting on that costume and putting on someone else's wardrobe to become someone else. And that's just so, it's really thrilling to me. And it's
Totally.
Yeah. And then on the creative side, there's a lot of stories that I create because there's a lot of stories that I feel like I haven't seen yet that I want to see. And so I'm here to make those as much as I can, as well as I can, and keep learning.
Sounds like a plan. Awesome. And then at some point your anime series, right?
Yes. Very important. We have to add that. Yeah.
Okay. And my last question here, like, any advice to those who recently started building their dreams?
Don't stop. It's going to get hard. But you have to know, trust your gut instinct. Trust that if something is calling you to do this, or probably meant to be doing it. And the hard times are only going to make you stronger. They're only going to teach you more skills, and they're only going to teach you how to become a better human being. Treat everyone with kindness, become a leader if you can, and do things on your terms. I spent a lot of my career, especially early on, trying to follow all these rules that everyone else set, and that made me very sad. And it's been in the last couple years when I've realized, oh, I can build whatever career I want on my own terms, that I have really felt free and happy. And I want to instill that in more actors and more performers, that there's no rules. There's the rule to be nice and kind and treat people with respect. But other than that, there's a lot of rules you can break.
Totally. Well, what can I say? I mean, since we finished the whole questions here, I have to give you an epic, massive shout out here. So, I mean, yeah, you are a badass here, and it's true. At the end of the day, if you want to start something, or if you want to start like your own dream, just do it. And yeah, it gets tougher, but at the same time, I think that it gets tougher, but also you enjoy it more. You know, and also like, it doesn't matter how tough it could get, since you love it, you will. I mean, of course, that every now and then you will feel tired or so, but it's not like the same feeling like if you were tired for doing something that you hate. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
there's a big difference.
Totally. So Valerie, I mean, at the end of the day, as I said, you are a badass here. You have such an awesome, amazing career here. Definitely keep building that. Keep doing awesome things, because I think creative people is the one that we need right now, and especially during these whole crazy times, right? So the fact that you're doing that, that's super cool. So make sure that you keep doing that, and yeah, it's awesome here. Also, thank you so much for those who tune in here for this interview. If you're watching this later on YouTube or listening this later on the podcast, make sure that you're following Valerie on all of social media. Normally, what I would say is that put pause, hydrate, and then follow Valerie. Leave a million likes here and there. Share content too. Spread the word that we have an amazing, talented, badass rock star voice actress here, and then come back for sure. And again, Valerie, thank you so much. Keep having an amazing rest of the day. And before I send you off, I need to send you off in an epic, badass way again. So.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been my absolute pleasure.
Oh, perfect. I can't wait to see more of your awesome projects in the future, and I can wait to have another interview with you so we can talk more about this amazing thing that you're doing.
That sounds like a plan. I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect. So keep having an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one then.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.